What's the lifelong value of a customer? We have no idea. It could be $2,000. It could be, we have people that spend, $1 million with us. You really need to treat every customer as they could be worth $1 million. You literally never know.
Hey, how's it going? It's Tim Brown, and this is the HVAC and Plumbing Hustle Podcast. And today, I have the pleasure of having on Kenny Byrn Jr. on from the Call the Animals brand. How you doing, sir?
Good, man. How you doing?
Doing very, very good. We're talking about specifically how you went from $5 million to $12 million fast. But basically, the formula behind the Call the Whales explosive growth, I want to dig into what you think really makes the difference. And, we've got a kind of a quick one today. So obviously, you've helped a lot of people scale now, but you seem to kind of know the difference between what founders have it and what don't, which is respectfully a big secret sauce type thing. And it's hard to get that down. Kenny, why do you think you personally have the sauce?
I just been doing this for a long time. I've been in the HVAC field for almost 26 years now. I've been owning businesses since I was 19. I started my first company. And so just having a lot of experience. Also, I've been fully trained by Nexstar. So that helped a ton. And you only know what you know. You know what I'm saying? So you have to get out there. You have to meet people. And honestly, going to these conferences and stuff, they don't teach you how to do this. You know what I mean? Yes, they give you some things that you can go back and implement. But really, either joining a best practices group or partnering with, guys like myself or any of these other guys that are actually building and scaling multiple companies, not just one, you know what I mean, is a huge advantage to you as, a guy that's struggling and can't get past 1 million, can't get past 2 million. You know what I mean? There's a lot of things that need to happen in a business for that to happen. You know what I mean? You just going out and doing, a couple Facebook ads and, selling work for cheap and just doing work and working your ass off. Yeah, you can get to $1 million. You know what I'm saying? But that's not sustainable. You got to get out of the truck. You know what I'm saying? And one of the keys to being able to do that is knowing who to hire. Knowing how to hire, knowing what kind of messaging that you need to put out there so that it attracts the type of people that you want to work with. You know what I'm saying? Really just being, I don't even know the word, but direct. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Don't sugarcoat things. Tell people exactly what you're looking for. And we have the phrase "happy, productive professionals" nationally trademarked. And we base all of our hiring and recruiting. Our ads are based around those 3 words, and we talk about that and how those are the type of people that we want to surround ourselves with. And can you imagine that those type of people apply and want to come work with us? And then their employment contracts state that if they're not like that, then we're probably going to get rid of them. You know what I'm saying? Because it only takes one bad apple to spoil the whole cart. So. Really just do your due diligence on people. You know what I'm saying? Look at their Facebook. If they don't have Facebook, they're probably not a good candidate, especially if you run your business off a CRM and you're not on pen and paper anymore. You know what I'm saying? If they don't have a Facebook or an Instagram, they're not even tech savvy. You know what I'm saying? Sorry, but we can't have you on our team. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Talk to me about the training stuff that you guys do. It sounds like when you very rapidly scaled your first business from 5 million to 12 million. Training was a big deal back then. I'm sure you've gotten much more sophisticated, but can you give me some fundamental components, like how long the training was, who was doing the training? People are maybe scared to invest this level of effort up front, but why you did it?
Many homes suffer from inefficient HVAC systems due to leaky ducts, leading to uneven room temps, lost airflow, and higher energy costs. AeroSeal's innovative sealant technology targets and repairs leaks, improving airflow and efficiency. Increase your customer satisfaction, increase sales, and offer a unique market advantage. Become a leader in HVAC efficiency. AeroSeal.com.
I mean, so the biggest thing, like one of my coaches said this back to me back in the day. It's not really the level of in the investment. It's people are afraid to train people because they're going to leave. But what if you don't train them and they stay? You know what I mean? Let that sink in. So what if you don't train them and they stay, and then they're just going out and doing whatever they want? So I do all the training for all of our companies. I'm actually in the process of building videos and slideshow presentations so that I can teach our managers to now facilitate all the trainings that I've been doing over the last 22 years now. And it just starts with one simple thing, right? How do you properly go through a system? What are you looking for? You know what I'm saying? How do you measure each component to see if it's within specs? You know what I'm saying? Like, people only know what they know. And 9 times out of 10, they came from a company with no training. They just sent them out there. They go to the customer's house, don't talk to the customer, walk right down to the system, sit on a bucket, look at a couple things, don't do a thorough evaluation and actually find out what's causing the problem that the people are having. And that's why you have nothing but callbacks and you're running back to people's house nonstop and fixing shit for free. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Literally just, pick a system. Let's pick a gas furnace, right? What are the things that we need to look at every single time we go there? We need to look at the filter. We need to look at the inducer motor. We need to pull the amperage on the inducer motor. We need to look at the burners. We need to look at the exhaust and see if it's pitched properly and or even vented properly, right? We need to look at the ductwork. Is it sized properly? Is the return big enough? Are there enough supplies? Are we taking static pressure readings to see that we're in that 0.5 static pressure for the supply and return? These things tell you a lot of things, you know what I'm saying? Then, if you stick your head in a blower and the blower's dirty, you got to be given options for, air filtration to protect the unit from not getting dirty anymore. Protect the cooling coil because the bottom side of the cooling coil is dirty as hell. No one ever even knows to look at the thing, you know what I'm saying? Then they're wondering why their AC unit's icing up all summer long and their heat bills are crazy because the air's not pushing through the house, you know what I'm saying? It's just really... just think about what needs to be looked at inside the house. That's where it starts. Does that make sense?
Oh, absolutely. Very Joker Sarah of you to say that. Does that make sense? I don't know if that's from him. Is that just like
I've just been saying it all the time.
HVAC guy? It's an HVAC guy thing. It's been around for a second. It feels like in the sales process. I am curious from your perspective. Do you think somebody who's not as technically savvy as you on the actual work can run an HVAC company as well as you?
They're definitely not going to run it as well as me.
Talk to me about that for a second, because I talk to a lot of people. Some of them are less savvy on this. I could certainly see this being an obvious secret sauce for you guys. Talk to me about why that matters so much for you.
I've been doing. I still do installs. I still run service calls till this day. You know what I'm saying? I don't do it all the time, but I do it for a reason because things are changing, right? People are changing. People's buying habits are changing. And I want to get in the home every once in a while and interact with some people and see how they're taking and really test our processes out that we've developed and see how they're working, right? If I can do it, other people can do it. If I can't do it, we probably need to look at what we're doing. You know what I'm saying? But really understanding how systems work is a superpower. Like, you can know numbers, you can go to college, you can learn numbers, you can learn a few things, but if you don't understand, especially when it comes to HVAC, that's why a couple of businesses that we've partnered with in the past and saved them from going out of business almost went out of business. They were an electrical company, tried doing HVAC, knew nothing about it, and if you don't know anything about it, you're going to get in trouble. You're going to be flooding people's houses because expansion tanks aren't sized properly, whatever, you know what I'm saying? But I definitely have an unfair advantage, even though, like, this is why I can even compete against private equity firms. I understand the business completely, how to run these businesses, how to do financials, how to do marketing, recruiting, sales, the whole thing. And then I know how to do every single system. And being from the Northeast, we work on every system. So I know boilers, heat pumps, furnaces, you name it. I know how to work on it, and I know all about it because I've been doing it for the last 22 years. So it's definitely knowing the system has an unfair advantage against everybody else. You know what I'm saying? Because if you understand the system and you understand the sequence of operations, then you can break it down and dumb this down for your guys. You know what I'm saying? I literally had this conversation. I literally had this conversation yesterday in training because March 1st we start air conditioning training because in April, here we go. So AC season's coming, right? And we're going to start doing AC system checks and stuff like that. And I was just saying, like, listen, I'm telling you how to do things in a very specific way and very specific wording so that you have no questions. So if you have no questions, that means the customer's going to have no questions. And that's, at the end of the day, that's what we want. And whether it's a sales process, whether it's just explaining to the customer what's going on, you need to dumb this down so that they understand. Like, Tim, if you were an AC tech, we can geek out, right? We can nerd out. We can talk about superheat and delta T's and blah blah blah. But do you think a customer's going to know anything about that?
Yeah, not.
Their eyes are going to roll up in the back of their heads, and their head's going to be spinning. You know what I'm saying? They're like, what the hell is this guy talking about? He's not making any sense to me. I still don't understand why my system's not working. I'm calling to get a second opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So, and that's why second opinions happen. Either they just weren't educated enough because you're not explaining to them what's going on or even found what's going on, or they're just cheap. You know what I'm saying? And they're looking for a better price, and you're going to get that. There's nothing you can do about that. But
bring me to the portfolio for zoom out with me for a second. I'm not technically savvy in this regard, but I respect deeply your trade. I want you to zoom out with me for a second. The portfolio of companies you mentioned, it's hard. It's a different game when you're managing multiple companies and lots of moving parts and kind of like knowing how to zoom in on the system, tweak. And it's like kind of like, probably like a little bit of a system, right? You kind of know what to tweak to make sure the system's running properly. What else do you think that skill, what is the biggest piece of that skill? Because that's probably like your last few years. You've gotten probably really good at that particular move. What is it that makes somebody good at that versus
good at running multiple businesses?
Yeah, versus even like running a great single business.
Right. So I mean, it's just like going through a piece of equipment, the sequence of operations, right? Kim and I, my wife and I, Kim, we break a business down into like a set of gears. So how does a clock work, right? A pendulum swings. So that's your marketing. Okay. You got to have calls coming in. Then you have to have your call center needs to be answering the calls, and they need to be booking the calls. Then you need to be able to have people to show up and go out and run the calls. Then they need to know what they're doing. You know what I'm saying? So they're not just burning these calls because it's typically $300 to $400 customer acquisition cost. You know what I'm saying? If not more than that for some companies, especially if you're trying to break into a market.
Mm-hmm.
Then they need to be able to provide options, multiple options, so that the customer buys. Then you need to be able to do the work. So the guys need to, schedule the work, get kits, whatever, make it super simple for the install teams to do the work. Then they have to be able to do the work in a timely fashion. Then they need to collect payment. Then we need to re-advertise to these people so that they tell their friends and keep calling us because what's the lifelong value of a customer? We have no idea. It could be $2,000. It could be we have people that spend $1 million with us. You know what I'm saying? So you really need to you really need to treat every customer as they could be worth $1 million. You literally never know. You know what I'm saying?
If you were like, you probably go in and diagnose the problem for a lot of business. You talk to a lot of businesses. You're discussing with them because in situations you partner, I believe. But what is some of the most common? The system is breaking down here. What? I'm sure you see patterns. You know what I mean? Like, yes, like every business is a snowflake, but you've probably seen some patterns and some like pretty obvious stuff that you usually go to. You're like, we can fix that.
No, number one, their marketing's terrible. or they're not doing enough of it because they can't even afford it because they're not. And then number two is they're not charging enough. Okay? They don't even know how to get calculate their break even. They don't know the difference between net profit and margin, right? You need to charge margin because there's other fixed costs that are involved in this that, come in the back end. Typically the biggest hurdle that people have is just number one, like it's the book that I'm writing right now that should be done in a couple months, maybe a little bit longer, but I'm trying to make it so it's good and really going to train people or give people information on how to get out of the truck, right? They can't hire the right people because they can't even hire people because their day to day is just they're in the business, they're running calls, then they're selling the calls, then they have to go home and so they're answering the phone, they're running the calls, they're selling the calls, they got to do the work.
Kenny, let's keep off the guy in the truck. Let's pull out from the guy in the truck for a second because he's an easy target. Let's talk to me about that. Talk to me about the $3 to $7 million guy who can't get out of his own way, or like what's the most common problem there? Like if you're stuck there for 3 years in a row.
If you're stuck there, your guys need a process on how to go through the home, right? They need the process on how to go through the home. They need to be doing the same thing on every call. They need to be selling things consistently. They need to have a sales process. Like, when we go into a home, we offer three to five options on every single call, no matter what. And you need to give them the time to stay there and actually talk with the customer, build a relationship, ask questions, of what's going on with the home, because that's why they're coming out of there with, simple repairs for $200 and $300, right? They're not really going through the system and finding what's going on. And then, so
you zoom in on that case, you usually zoom in on sales process and like too many things coming out with low tickets. And it's like, essentially,
it starts there with him. If you have no money to spend, can you grow?
Yeah.
Can you really do anything if you have no sales, can you do anything?
Can't do
Nothing.
Shit. Yeah.
Money fixes everything.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, typically it has a lot to do with marketing. Like they're not able to market enough. They're not doing the right marketing. They just have branding is huge, right? You can't miss our trucks. I remember when we partnered with this company in Philadelphia, the first thing that the lady said to me was, I was like, so why is your HVAC division, like, why is it only a couple guys? You've been doing this for 2 years. So, we're hiding in plain daylight. I'm like, you're hiding in plain daylight? Aren't you trying to do HVAC and grow this? And she was like, yeah, well, we don't really know what we're doing. And it's, we're having a hard time. And I'm like, well, you can't hide. You got to tell people that you're doing it, right? So obviously, number one is you need to market. People need to know who you are. If you look like everyone else in town, there's no distinction, and they're not going to remember you, and they're just gonna judge you on everybody else, right?
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Oh, absolutely. I want to talk like selfishly. I usually feel like if I talk selfishly, then somebody else out there is having the same kind of things. And I'm kind of going through a thing where I'm making a second company. I'm trying to figure it out. I'm like working it back. I think like way too honest, way too like transparent here, but that's my MO. Is like, I feel like I'm pulling out of this company and I'm seeing what breaks, right? And there's innovation side of things. Like it sounds like you're so in with the actual installs. You're capable of that. I came from SEO and web design. I was the web designer SEO guy, and I've got a great taste, and that's partly why I made this company and what so on and so forth. So innovation though, with AI and the amount of things going on, everything's changing very, very fast, and there's tools to change things very, very fast. And those tools, you got to stay up on them. So like right now I'm like, using Cloud Code and Lovable to make apps. I'm trying to kind of zoom back into really technical stuff for a second to like make sure that we're using all the most up-to-date tools, essentially. But I look at those leaders that we put into place, and I love them, but there's weakness, right? The weakness from my point of view is like, you're waiting for permission. You're, and I'm being direct with them too, and they don't watch this. The point, there'd be too much. I make too much content. But there's like this, you're waiting for permission, and then also like having winning energy with the team. You can't come in and be like, oh, I don't know, like you have to like leadership. But that's the thing is like, then I say it's my fault. It's my fault because I haven't given you enough permission and enough like information for you to feel like what you say goes. So that's what I'm working through. Like, how do you enable people? Because obviously you have so much going on. You cannot be leading every single person. You probably have like 5 people that you talk to on a regular basis that have to help lead a bunch of stuff. So how do you get those people? And obviously it's choosing the right people with the right attitudes and things like that. But then how do you get those people to feel like they really own it when the truth is you could come in and be like, nope, you just spent 2 weeks on that, but nope.
Right. I mean, really, it's just telling them that, listen, I hired you because I trust you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I trust that you're going to make the right decision. You know what I'm saying? Like, things are happening every single day. You're obviously intelligent, or else I wouldn't put you in this position if I didn't think you were. You know what I'm saying? And most of these things are really just they're gut decisions. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, if you're thinking that something needs to be done, then do it. You know what I'm saying? And then a lot of things is they'll come to me with questions and I'll think about it or I'll have the answer. But the biggest thing also is that as a leader of leaders, right, you don't want to be a crutch. Because if you're just offering information and giving them the answer every single time and not getting them to think, right, about what's going on. So you just have a conversation with them and have, just like we're having right now, we're having dialogue on this topic of getting from 3 to 7 million, right? What are you experiencing? How does that make you feel? What do you think we should do about that? You know what I mean? If this was your business, what would you do? You know what I'm saying? And they typically have the answer. They're just looking for that reassurance because they don't want to make a mistake.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
That's good. Those are some good questions. I especially like this. If this was your business, what would you do? And it's funny because sometimes with leader, like I said, too transparent. But like, I go back and I think that I'm like, well, it is kind of, like technically you don't own it, but like this is really whatever's happening right now because you're the leaders. It's kind of because of you. So why aren't we doing that? I've never stopped you from doing that. You know what I mean? And they think they kind of blame, I think they blame me in their head a little bit, like, right? Like I would too probably, but it's like, no, I'm not stopping you from making those innovations. Let's go.
Right.
Let's go now as soon as possible.
Yeah. And it's really just like, hey, if you have an idea or something that you think, just let me know. You know what I mean? Let's talk about it. You know what I'm saying? Like you're probably onto something. You know what I'm saying? But then, so sorry, this is the other part that sometimes happens. And this is where I probably undermine it, where I'm like, but you haven't been through all 10 years of this business and I need to give you some context from the last 9, so that's the hard part is like getting them all the context as much as I possibly can. What I'm realizing for me now is like, as I'm trying to lead up, I'm like a president of this company. I need to hang out with them as much as I can, like just to give keep on giving my, my operating system. And it's hard to give that. Like I made looms and I trained and all these things, but it's still just regular basis hanging out with him to make sure that he kind of knows, my mode. And I don't know what's important. So I'm just saying all the things to him. I'm like, this is what I would have done in that situation. But like I love your mode, which is like ask good questions, let them come up with the answers. I mean, that's all we're doing when we're in people's homes. We're just asking good questions. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. That's the way to get out of, if a customer doesn't want to buy, you know what I'm saying? Like you just have to be get comfortable being uncomfortable, right? Like, I got to talk to my wife. Hey man, do you like me? Do you like our company? Do you like everything we've been talking about today? Yeah. I mean, level with me, man. Like, what's stopping you from moving forward today? You know what I'm saying? Like, just ask the questions. All we're doing is trying to get information out of people. And if you're always just like real quick to just give them the answer, dude, they're never going to learn because then they're not thinking. You know what I'm saying? The biggest thing is getting people to think without you. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And that's why, like, if you ever came to one of my trainings, or even whether it's management training or technical training or install training or sales training, I ask why a lot, right? Because people, in order for people to buy into things, they need to understand why we're making a change, why we need to do it this way. You know what I'm saying? Because if you're just telling people what to do nonstop, it just, for some reason, it just doesn't sink in. You know what I'm saying? Like, this fucking guy's just telling me what to do again. You know what I mean? Well, I don't, and in the back of their heads, Tim, they're just saying, I really just don't understand why we need to do this, so I'm going to revolt against it, and I don't want to do it. You know what I'm saying? So you really have to get people to understand the why. Why are we doing this? Why is it? What's it going to do for you if you start doing it? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Sometimes I think of that as like a Gen Z thing or something. But it was also me. It was also me when I was a millennial, right? Like, just early career people, right? Like that's what it is. Like we gave the millennials a lot of shit, but that was just like they were early in their career, and it takes a second to like essentially realize you're gonna have to do a bunch of shit you don't like. But my question is like, yeah, I'm guessing you'd probably deal with a lot of Gen Z people at this point, like coming into these companies, or what's that? Yeah. How do you think it's changed the attitudes and inclinations of this generation, or do you think it's basically the same as the one that was 15 years ago as the one that was 15 years before that in the work environment?
I mean, people typically, they think the same. You know what I'm saying? As long as you hire the people that are like-minded. Yeah. So it all goes back to, I mean, it's just like Democrat and Republican, right? Democrats think a certain way and Republicans think a certain way. And really, you're not getting any information to the other thing because maybe they just don't even want to listen to you because they don't believe that. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of that just goes down to, number one, having the right people in the right seat. You know what I'm saying? Some dogs just aren't going to hunt. You know what I mean? They're just not. And that goes for management down to the apprentices. Some dogs, like, hey, some people just aren't meant to do this. We can give it a shot. We'll give you a few months, show us that you can do this. And if you can't, we're probably going to have another conversation. You know what I mean? Just like, it's really just about knowing your people, really like digging into the people that you're hiring, making sure that, their backgrounds check out, that you look at their Facebooks, you know what I'm saying? See what they're into outside of work, see what they're bitching about, see what they're happy about. Right? If someone's online bitching about shit all the time, do you think that they're going to come in your company and bitch about shit nonstop? Yeah, that's what their whole life is. You know what I'm saying? So like, be really intentional with the people that you hire, because it makes the world a difference of whether your company is going to succeed or whether it's going to fail, or whether you're just going to be struggling day in and out just to even do daily operations. You know what I'm saying? Because if you can't get people that are open-minded and want to learn something new, or like can even retain something, you're just going to be batting yourself in the head. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're going to be spinning your wheels and you're going to be as frustrated as they are.
Kenny, can you talk to me about like the types of companies that you guys partner with and what you look for as far as like criteria that makes sense to do that?
I mean, typically, we look at the people that are running it, because I could be a coach at any organization, Nexstar, whatever, right? But when you're a coach at one of those things, you don't get to pick and choose who you get to partner with. You just have to teach them, and hopefully they listen to you, and you know what I mean? Like, obviously the people that we want to partner with, they actually have a clue. They've been able to get their business up to probably 1 or 2 million. You know what I mean? So it means that they can actually do the work. They can do a little bit of sales. They weren't in new construction, and then can't figure out how to get the service and replacement business going. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. They have a few guys that are working under them, and they've been there for a while, and they're really just looking for a better way to do business. And that really, listen, I got a core foundation. I got a good group of guys, and I'm going to be honest with you. I really just don't know what I'm doing. And that's what's holding our business back from growing. Does that make sense? And like really just like, I had a guy from
so people usually
Chicago.
come to you with like some pain and some need.
100%. Everyone has it. I have pain, right? We're learning how to run 8 businesses at the same time right now. I've never done that before, but I'm going to learn how to do it. You know what I'm saying?
You'll get used to it, Kenny, and then you'll get 9.
You know what I mean? It's going to be 10 to 20. You know what I'm saying? But like, it's really, taking a step back and being like, I really just don't know what I'm doing, and I need some help. It's just like a drug addict or an alcoholic. Like, hey, I like doing this. I really like doing it, but I need some help. You know what I'm saying? And that's the first step, is just admitting to yourself, like, hey, I got really good guys. I feel like I'm a solid. I feel like I'm a solid person. I can really commit to doing this, and I'm really focused on it. And just, I only know what I know, and I could really use some help from someone that knows what they're knowing, and we can really build something great here. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like
I want to like just recap what we were talking about. Like from my point of view, finding great people, knowing your criteria, like really looking at them and looking at their socials, understanding what you're looking for, being selective essentially with your people, then really creating a training environment for them, so that when you put people out in the field, they understand how to diagnose and install as well as sell, so that there's real training in place.
And Tim, you really need to be consistent with this training, because if you're only doing training every once in a while, then they think that they did something wrong, and they probably did do something wrong, and that's why you're training them. You know what I'm saying? But if you're consistent and you do the training 2 days a week like we do, service and sales on Tuesday morning, install training on Thursday morning, like, you're going to see how much of a difference it's going to make your company run, and how efficient it's going to run, how less callbacks you have, how your lead installers are less frustrated with your apprentices, because you're actually taking the time to spend time with them, instead of the lead installer rushing through to get this job done because he's already overwhelmed with the project he's on. Like, taking the guys out and putting them in an environment where they can slow down and like, hey, this is how you put the gauges on. This is how you charge a system. This is how you reclaim a system, right? So that they're not an anchor to the people, and they're actually a help. You know what I'm saying?
Love that. Kenny, where can people go to connect with you if they've got a hang up in their business right now? Maybe they want to just chat with you, or maybe they'd want to partner at some point. Where can they check you out?
Yeah, so the company that we own it's called the Brands Service Partners. Dan Antonelli's finishing our logo right now, so that's going to be pretty dope. They can reach me. They can connect with me on Facebook. You can text me. My cell phone number is 860-436-7678. Again, that's 860-436-7678. Just please text me first.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't answer the phone. I get tons of stupid ass phone calls all day with health insurance and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So text me, or the best thing is look me up on Facebook. It's Kenny Byrn, Kenny Byrne Jr. That's Kenny Byrne Jr. Shoot me a DM, and I'll get back to you as soon as possible.
Kenny, thanks for spending the time with me, and appreciate you being on the show. I hope that I can continue to stay in touch somehow. I'm not going to, God forbid, I'm not going to call you Kenny. But I will hopefully run into you again at some point. Podcast is put on by Hook Agency, hookagency.com. And I'm just going to go ahead and read a recent review, because that's what I've been doing on these podcasts, so people know that we actually do work and that it's good. Recently, it's from Stephen Hansen. I love working with Hook Agency. After working with several other SEO companies, I found Hook Agency in February 2025. From day one, the communication has been outstanding. They're very proactive with my account. I feel like they're invested in the success of my company, and the results speak for themselves. We saw almost 30% growth in our first year with them, and I'm looking to see what 2026 brings. Thank you so much, Stephen. And thank you everyone for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next episode. Bye.
I can't commend Hook Agency enough on just the experience. We're talking about plumbing experience, but the experience we've had overall working with your team members on this project, they really draw out ideas that otherwise I didn't even think of, which is incredible. So thank you guys for being a valued partner of the Family Plumber. I really appreciate that.